Good day. Today is Saturday, May 18th, 2024, and it's a big day for Sister Jeannie. Please pray for her safe travels eastward as she begins her journey to come visit. And who knows? Good day, Denise and CJ. How are you? And CW and anybody else just waking up. And I'm sure you are. Not Denise, she's been up a while. But you westward people. We're going to continue on with St. John of the Cross and the Dark Knight. And I've been debating back and forth whether or not to mention the little trial, if you will, the trial or attack on OurLadyIsGod.com website and myself personally by a public figure at Catholic Answers. And it's kind of good in that we get more people coming over to look, but it's bad in the sense that the person ignorantly commits slander, or maybe not ignorantly. It appears to be more out of ignorance and ego and pride than anything. Slander, calumny, defamation, things like that come to mind when I watch it. But it is linked over on the website, Mr. Nobody's website, OurLadyIsGod.com. That's one of the errors that false statements he makes, is that he believes that it's my website. It's not my website. Okay, I am a guest there. Okay, and which many of you already know. So we're going to pray for this soul, and we're going to pray for the souls that come to check us out, because you can't let an error or false statements reign, in a sense that it does harm. So we want to prevent harm, and again, it's not about me personally. I've been called a lot worse than what he called me, but there is harm that should be stopped, especially when it comes to the souls of those who are seeking to know the Trinitarian Theophany. Okay, and through discernment. Now, this gentleman who made these statements obviously did not discern properly, did not go to the website like most all of you did, and really look at the information and discern it with a humble soul. So, but this is the case with the outward visible, quote unquote, church that's out there. They are what can I say? We have to pray for them. So in any case, I'm reserving our right to pursue anything further. But at this point, I would like to hear from especially Julianne. She was the one who posed the question to the Catholic Answers. And I would rather her come to the website, and rather than making rash judgments or presumptions, to come and talk to me in a human manner, just like this gentleman didn't do either, who seems to know me, but he doesn't know me at all. Sister Jeannie has a good idea of my who I am. Let's just put it that way. But humor is a big part of my life, and keeping things light, deep prayer and trying to be humble. All right, that's what we're shooting for. All right, let's get right into St. John of the Cross, because he and I have a special connection, in that we were, we're being chastised by the church at the same time, and because of our beliefs, etc. So let's continue in his vein and become closer and closer to the Trinitarian Theophany. And let's learn more from him today. You see, Mr. Nobody is making the point that no one would be allowed to get away with what these people get away with to us if they did it to any other group. And so, the thing is, at what point do you defend yourself to get them to stop? And to be honest with you, it's a sign that we're winning, that things are really happening. And I'm looking at the growth too of the channel as a small indicator, because again, my goal is to help people with their foremost their position and their state of their soul. But to begin with, I kind of get an assessment of their physical body, because the two are joined, and it's important to make sure that the body is feeling good, and before you can really move into the deep prayer life. You can still understand things. It's just that it makes it more joyful if your body is in a gooder better physical condition. So let's begin with morning prayers. In nomine Dei, matronam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Let us place ourselves in the presence of the Trinitarian Theophany and humbly adore the Divine Family in Catholic contemplation. Most holy and venerable Trinitarian Theophany, one divine family, I believe that thou art here present. I venerate thee with the deepest humility. I render to thee with my whole heart the homage which is due to thee. O Trinitarian Theophany, relying on thine infinite goodness and promises, I hope to obtain the pardon of my sins, the help of thy grace, and life everlasting through the merits of Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Matronam Nostrae. O Trinitarian Theophany, I love thee above all things, with my whole heart and soul, because thou art all good and worthy of all love. I love my neighbor as myself for love of thee, and I forgive all who have injured me and ask pardon of all whom I have injured. Another thing I was thinking is that, with my Latin pronunciation, some don't think it's that important that I pronounce, Latin in the classical sense. However, after some thought and discernment, I thought, well, if the people who are coming and who are like fluent or better at Latin, whatever, pronunciation, understanding, why not let's get past that barrier for them with quick simplicity, and not let something like that be like, oh, well, they don't even know Latin. And then they discard seeking further what we're talking about, which is more important to me. So if that can be eliminated as an excuse for them, that's good. So let us thank the Trinitarian Theophany for the many graces that we receive, and offer ourselves and our sufferings up to the divine family. O Trinitarian Theophany, I most humbly thank thee for all the favors thou hast bestowed upon me to the present moment. It is again thanks to thy bounty that I should live to see this day, and I desire to employ it solely in thy service. I consecrate to thee all my thoughts, words, actions, and sufferings of this day. Sanctify them, that there may be none that is not animated by thy love, or that would not tend to thy greater glory. Let us make a firm resolution to avoid evil and to do good. And let us beg of God, the Trinitarian Theophany, the graces that are necessary to us. O divine family, thou knowest my weakness, and that I am unable to do anything good without the help of thy grace. Deny me not thy grace, proportionate to my necessities. Give me strength to avoid everything which thou forbiddest, to practice the good which thou hast commanded, and enable me patiently to bear all the trials which it may please thee to send me. O Deum Matronam Nostrae, I place myself under thy protection. I throw myself with confidence into the arms of thy compassion. Be to me, O Mother of Mercy, my refuge in distress, my consolation in suffering, now and at the hour of my death. O most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Dea Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. I am heartily sorry for having offended thee, and I detest all my sins, because I dread the loss of heaven and the pains of hell. But most of all, because they offend thee, O most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Dea Matronam Nostrae, Striae et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, who are all good and deserving of all my love. I firmly resolve, with the help of thy grace, to confess my sins, to do penance, and to amend my life. And with all of these people who praying for me, I appreciate that, even though their intention may be that I'm in error. It makes things stronger. So keep praying for me. Absolutely. One thing I wanted to just really quick make clear that seems to be a persistent confusion is that we believe that Deam Matronam Nostrae, okay, for those who, God, Our Lady, is a different entity, obviously, is divine, is not the Virgin Mary. Okay, those are two separate entities. Okay, and there's a lot of support for that. Okay, so there's in the early part of let's see, I think it was around, I can't remember, I looked it up yesterday, but my short-term memory is not as good as it used to be. It was either in the 300s or the 500s that there was a group, and this is very significant if you understand this, there was a group who began to worship the Virgin Mary as God, okay? And they were condemned by the church. Okay, now, my thought here is, and it could be pretty. It seems to me to be pretty obvious that the reason they condemned that, specifically the Virgin Mary, was because that they knew that this Virgin Mary was an entity that was created, if you will, by the Jewish actors of the time in order to confuse the faithful. And that the early Catholics knew, okay, that Deam Matronam Nostrae et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum was the true Trinity. So, again, if you're confused about that, it is something that they have masterfully confused people with by substituting in history one to another. Okay, so and it's very interesting. Even as late as the 1500s, I think that I mean, one of the Protestant things was that we held Our Lady in such high esteem, and they were really, really offended by that, because that's not a good Jewish practice. The Jewish practice is to keep the women outside of the religious sphere, according to the stories that we read in the Bible and whatnot. But typically in their temple, okay, they wouldn't have women there. So that separation of the feminine from their diabolical actions is definitely not a Catholic, but rather a Jewish infusion, if you will, of their culture. That's a popular word today. Okay, so now let's get back to John of the Cross. Wherein is begun to be explained the second line of the first song. It states how the soul, as the fruit of these rigorous conflicts, finds herself with a vehement longing after love divine, with heartache kindled into love. In this line, the soul gives us to understand the fire of love that we have spoken of, which, after the fashion of the material fire on the wood, proceeds to inflame and kindle her in this night of contemplation. The which kindling, although it is in a certain way like unto that we have above set forth, which took place in the sensitive part of the soul, is in some manner as different from this she now speaks of, as is the soul from the body, or the soul part from the sensitive. Because this is a kindling of love in the soul, wherein, in the midst of these obscure conflicts, the soul feels herself sharply and acutely wounded by a powerful and irresistible divine love, together with a certain feeling and indistinct presage of the Trinitarian Theophany, apart from any specific knowledge or indication, for, as we say, the mind is in darkness. In this state, the impassioned soul feels the most ardent longings of love, because this soulful kindling transforms love into passion. For inasmuch as this love is infused in a special way, the soul concurs in it with greater passivity, and so it genders in her a strong emotion of love. And this love at length begins to contain somewhat of the most perfect union with the Trinitarian Theophany, and so shares to a certain extent in its properties, the which are more especially acts of the divine family, rather than received by the soul herself in her interior, whereto she gives her absolute and amorous consent. But it is the love of the Trinitarian Theophany alone which is the process of being united with her, which is in process of being united with her, which makes adhere to her this heat and force, temper and passion of love, or blazing forth, as the soul now calls it, the which love finds so much the more room and disposition in the soul to unite with, and to wound her, the more it hath shut, alienated, and incapacitated all her appetites from the power to take delight in anything of heaven or earth, the which in this dark purgation, as has been said, happens on a large scale, since the Trinitarian Theophany has so weaned and gathered together the powers that they may not relish anything they were fain to. All which the Trinitarian Theophany does to the end that, as Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum hath withdrawn and gathered them all together for himself, the soul may have greater strength and capacity to receive this strong union of love of God, which through this purgative remedy, the Trinitarian Theophany at length begins to give her, wherein she is called upon to love with all her strength and sensitive desires, the which could not be if they were scattered abroad in the search of some other enjoyment. From this, we may, after some fashion, estimate how strong and fierce must this kindling of love in the soul be, where the Trinitarian Theophany holds gathered in all the forces, powers, and desires of the soul, soulful as well as sensitive, so that blending into one harmonious whole, they employ all their virtue and vitality on this love, so that the first precept may be complied with in very truth and in the utmost perfection, which not rejecting from this love anything of man or excluding anything he says. Thou shalt love thy Trinitarian Theophany with all thy heart, with all thy mind, and with all thy soul, and with all thy strength. We'll stop there and continue on with that, more expressions of this beginning stage of the second line. Deum vobiscum, et quoque opute. O Trinitarian Theophany, the Creator and Redeemer of all the faithful, grant to the souls of thy servants and handmaids the remission of all their sins, that they may obtain by loving prayers the forgiveness which they have always desired, who livest and reignest with thee, one Trinitarian Theophany, forever and ever. Suscipe Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum hancam accalatum hostiam, quam ego indignus famulus tuus offeri tibi Deum meum vivum et verum, pro innumerabilibus peccatis et offensionibus et negligentiis meis, et pro omnibus circumstantibus, sere pro omnibus fidelibus Catholicorum, vivis atque defunctis ut mihi, et idis proficiat ad salutem. Deum qui humanae substantiae dignitatem mirabilite condidisti, et mirabilibus peccatis et offensionibus mirabilis reformasti, da nobis per uius aquae et vini mysterium eius divinitatis esse consortes qui humanitatis nostrae fieri dignatus est partaceps Deum Iesum Christum, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Offerimus tibi Deum calicem salutaris tuam deprecarantes clementium ut conspectu divinae majestatis tuae pro nostra et totius mundi salute, cum adore suavitatis ascendat. In spiritu humilitatis et in animo contrito, suscipiamur a te Deum Iesum Christum, et sequiet sacrificium nostrum in conspecto tuo hodie, ut placiat tibi Deum matronam nostrae, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Veni sanctificator, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, et sanctificita blata prosequendo, et accapere hoc sacrificium tuo sancto nomini preparatum. Suscipe de Sancta Trinitas hanc oblationem quam tibi afferimus, ab memoriam passiones, resurrectiones et ascensiones Deum Iesum Christum, et in honorem Dei matronam nostrae, et Papa Peter Sanctorum, et Histonum et Omnium Sanctorum, et idis proficiat ad honorum nobis autem ad salutem, et idi pro nobis intercedere dignintur in caelis, quorum memoriam agimus in tedis, per eundum Christum Deum nostrum. Orate, ut meam ac vestrum sacrificium acceptabile fiat ab Dei Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Suscipiat Deum Iesum Christum, sacrificium de manibus tuis ad laudam et gloriam nominis sui, ad utilitatem quoque nostram totiusque ecclesiae suae sanctae. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apud te, sursum corda habemus ad Deum. Gratias agamus Deum nostrum, dignum et justum est. Dei igitur, clementissimi Mater et Pater, Deum Matronam nostrae, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per Deum Iesum Christum Filium Tuum, Deum nostrae, supplices rogamus ac petimus. Uti accepta habeas et sanctificas. Haec sanctam sacrificium sacrificam ilibata. In primis quae tibi offerimus pro ecclesiam tuam sanctam catholicam, quam pacificare, custodiri, adonare, et regere dignitis toto obiterarum atque catholicae. Memento Deum famulorumque tuarum. We pray for the sick and the suffering. We especially pray for Katie, Gage, Mindy, Clarette, Mark Jr., Maria Josephina Mose, Henry, Barbara and Benedict Santa Croce, Casey, Mr. Nobody, Ann Tink, the Cantu and Duarte families, Jenna, Lena, Lori, Aaron and family, John Cahill, Joe Heschmeyer, the Dasco, Nye, Tafur, Began, and Wolf families. We pray for a safe trip for Sister Jeannie. And we pray for our new subscribers, including Cynthia. We pray for Mr. Nobody to receive the funding and strength needed to complete the first Sede Vacantis Catholic Council office at Monastery of Illinois. We pray for an end to all governmental allowance or sanctioning of abortion, transgenderism, transhumanism, child trafficking, child abuse, human trafficking of any kind, anywhere, place, or time. We pray for the establishment of a Catholic monarchy with a sound Catholic system of labor, human value, and medium of exchange. We pray for courageous men to step forward as leaders of this Catholic society. And we pray that all abuses using psychology by the government to entrap people is stopped. We ask for a reversal of the feminist ideology and a return to godly or holy divine femininity, and that women cease working for Freemasons and corporations everywhere and for all time. We ask Deum Matronam Nostrae, Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum to destroy the satanic document of Vatican law, which is the Jewish Talmud. We ask you to destroy Rome and the Vatican and recognize the prior transfer of the authority of the Catholic Church to Fatima. We also ask you to release the souls controlled by the demons Lilith and Asmodeus. Please also block the passage of any so-called pandemic treaty by the WHO based on lies and aimed at removing the Divine Family's children's freedom to move and travel. We also ask you to destroy all biosensors and monitoring equipment used for slavery of mankind through the body area network. We also ask you to transfer and save the souls from under the dominion of any Jew or Freemason that gives support to Israel. And we also ask that people come to understand that the entities of the Virgin Mary and Joseph are not the Divine Family. Et omnium circumstantium, quorum tibi fides, cognita est, et nota devotio pro quibus tibi offerimus, vel qui tibi offerunt huc, sacrificium laudis, prosse suisque omnibus, pro redemptione annumarum suarum, prospe salutis et inculamitatis suae. Tibique redunt vota sua aeterno, Deum vivo et vero. Communicantes et memoriam venerantes in primis, gloriosae semper Deum patronam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et beatorum martyrium tuorum, Papae Sancte Petri, et Sancti Lucia, et Sancti Jacinta, et Sancti Francisco, et Sancti Juan Diego, et omnium sanctorum tuorum, quorum meritis precibusque concedas, ut in omnibus protectiones tuae muniamur auxilio, periendum Christum Deum nostrum. Quam oblationem te Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum in omnibus consecratem. Acceptabilemque facere digneris ut nobis corpum et sanguinem fiat dilectissimi filium tuum Deum Iesum Christum. Qui pridie quam pateretur accepit panem in sancta sacramentablis manus suas, et derivatis oculis in caelum ad te Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, suum omnipotentem tibi gratias agens. Consecravit, vit, fregit, dedique lumis sui dicens accipite et manducate ex hoc omnes. Hoc est enim corpus meum. Simini modo postquam ceremonia est accipiens et hunc precalum clarum calicem et sancta sacra venerabilis manus suas item tibi gratias agens Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum consecravit, dedique alumnis sui dicens accipite et bibite ex eo omnes. Hic est enim calic sanguinis mei, mysterium fidei, quae pro nobis et pro multis effundetur in remissionem peccatorum. Haec quotescunque feceritis in memoriam facietis. unde et memores Deum nos servitui, sed et plebs tua sancta justem Christum Filium tuum Deum nostrae, tam beatae passiones nec non et ab in fedis resurrectionis, sed et in caelos gloriosae ascensionibus offerimus praeclarae maestati tuae de tuis donis ac datis, supraque propitio ac sereno vutu respicere digneris. Supplices te rogamus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, iube haec perferi per manus tuum ut quod, ex hoc altaris participatione sacrosanctum Deum Filium tuum, corpus et sanguinum, sum serimus, omni sanctificatione, caelesti et gratia reper amor, per innum Christum Deum nostrae. We pray for those who have died. We especially pray for Bob Robert McCarthy, for whom this Mass is being offered. Ipsis Deum et omnibum in Christum quiescentibum locum refugieri lucis et pacis, et ut indulgeas deprecamur per iundum Christum Deum nostrum, per quem haec omnia Deum Iesum Christum semper bona creas, sanctificas, vivibicas, consecratis et praestas nobis. Per ipsum et cum ipso et in ipso, est tibi Deam matronam omnipotenti in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, omnis honor et gloriae. Ave Dea matronam nostrae, gratia plena Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum tecum. Dea matronam nostrae, matram Deum Iesum Christum misericordia nobis, peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Libera nos, quae sumus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, ab omnibus malis praeteritis, praesentibus, et futuris, et intercedente, beata et gloriosa semper Dea matronam nostrae, cum Papa Petrum Sanctorum et omnibus sanctis, da propitios pacem in diebus nostris, ut upe misericordiae tuae aduiti et a peccato simus semper liberi et ab omni perturbatione securi. Per eundum Deum nostrum Iesum Christum, Filium tuum Deum nostrum, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per aeternam, pax Deum Iesum Christum sed semper vobiscum, et quoque apud te, haec commixtio et consecratio, corporis et sanguinis Deum Iesum Christum, fiat accipientibus nobis in ad salutem aeternam. Pax tecum, et quoque apud te, Deum Iesum Christum, qui ex voluntate Deum matronam nostrae, qua prande Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per mortem tuam unum vivicasti, libera me per hoc sacro sanctum corpus et sanguinum tuum ab omnibus iniquitatibus meis et universis malis, et fac me tue semper in haerare mandatis et etunumquam separari permittas, qui cum eodem Deam matronam nostrae, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum vivis et regnam maternam, perceptio corporis tui Deum Iesum Christum, quod ego indignus sumere praesumo, non mihi proveniat in judicium et condemnationem, sed pro tua pietate prosit mihi ad tutamentum, mentis et corporis et adame delam percipiendam, qui vivis et regnas cum Dea matronam nostrae, in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Panem caelestem accipiem, et nomen Deum Iesum Christum invocabo. Dea matronam nostrae non sum dignus, ut interesse tectum meum, sed tanto reverbo in snabatur anima mea. Deum Iesum Christum non sum dignus, ut interesse tectum meum, sed tantum de verbo et snabatur anima mea. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum non sum dignus, ut interesse tectum meum, sed tantum dic verbo et snabatur anima mea. Corpus Deum nostrum, Iesum Christum custodiet animam mea. Quid retribuam Deum Iesum Christum pro omnibus quae retribuat mihi, calicem salutaris accipiem et nomen Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum invocabo. Laudans invocabo Deam matronam nostrae, et ab inimicis meis salvus ero. Sanguis Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet animam meam. Quod ore samsimus Deum Iesum Christum puramente capiamus, et te munere temporae fiat nobis remedium sempiternum. Corpus tuum Deum Iesum Christum quod sumpsi et sanguis quem potavi adhaereat visceribus meis et praesta ut in menan remaniat scelerum macula, quem pura et sancta refecerunt sacramenta. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apote. Oremus. May the prayer of thy suppliants profit the souls of thy servants and handmaids, we beseech thee, that thou mayest free them from all sins, and make them sharers in thy redemption, who livest and reignest with thee, one Trinitarian Theophany, forever and ever. Deum vobiscum, quoque apote, ite missa est. Deum gratia. Placea tibi, Sancta Trinitam, obsequium servitutis meae, et praesta et sacrificium quod oculis tuae majestatis indignus obtuli tibi set acceptabile mihique et omnibus proquibus illud obtuli sit de miseranti propitiabe per Christum Deum nostrum. Sanctificat vos omnipotens Deum, Matronam, et Filium, et Spiritum Sanctum, Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, gratias. O Trinitarian Theophany, I believe, I venerate, I hope, and I love thee. I beg of thee pardon for those who do not venerate, do not believe, do not hope, and do not love thee. Most Holy Trinitarian Theophany, Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, I venerate thee profoundly, and I offer to thee the most precious body, blood, soul, and divinity of Deum Iesum Christum, present here in reparation for the outrages, sacrileges, and indifference by which himself is offended. And through the infinite merits of his most sacred heart and the immaculate heart of Deum Matronam Nostrae, I beg of thee the conversion of poor sinners. In nomine Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. Again, welcome to any new subscribers. Thanks for coming, and thanks for watching. Sister Jeannie, look forward to seeing you. Can't wait. Everybody's excited. And please, if everybody who has the opportunity to say a Rosary 150 for Sister Jeannie's safe travels, it would really be appreciated. I said one last night. I hope I have time today to say a couple more. All right. Please go and sanctify all those who you meet, and we will see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Time.